What an honor, Nadine, to be introduced by you. That's perhaps the most intimidating part of this whole process. I think we first met when I was not too many years out of law school, nearly 20 years ago. And again, I really appreciate your heartfelt remarks. You know, for those of us in the Jewish faith, Passover ended not too long ago, and the joke about Jewish holidays is that they all run the same way. They tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. Well, they tried to cancel me, I survived, let's eat. Perhaps more importantly, at an evening function, I know there's a lot of wine on the table and whatnot, and I have found that the more my audience has to drink, the wittier I am. So please, don't refrain. Look, long before my debacle at Georgetown, I'd known about FIRE and counted many of its staff as friends. You know, Harvey is right there. Greg I've known for a long time. I mean, I wish your organization had wound down already because of the lack of need for this kind of activity. The second best option, and that is flourishing, and thanks to all of you, that it's doing this essential work. But, you know, I'd even worked on briefs with FIRE or filed briefs supporting their cases. That relationship continues, by the way. Just yesterday, in my new capacity at the Manhattan Institute, we joined a FIRE brief in a case defending parental rights to speak up at school board meetings. But never did I think that I would become one of FIRE's clients. During those initial 4 days of hell, when the cancellation campaign against me reached a fever pitch, FIRE was right by my side. I'd like to personally thank Greg, Nico Perino, Adam Steinbaugh, Daniel Burnett, Robert Shibley. We're talking the whole C-suite at FIRE was helping me here, working closely on crisis management and PR strategy. I teased Camille Foster, but I think my sanity wouldn't have survived those first 24 hours if he hadn't been a sounding board and a good friend. And then, throughout my 4 months of purgatory, FIRE had my back every step of the way. Ronnie London connected me with truly outstanding counsel, which proved indispensable. And FIRE kept putting Georgetown's feet to the flames with press releases. I was just tickled. It was really, I was, you know, I had no control over this, but they kept putting out these really amusing blog posts. One pointed out the investigation of my 45-word tweet was taking longer than 12 round trips to the moon, or the journey of the Mayflower, the gestation period of a bulldog, Georgetown's mascot. And I told Greg, you remember this, and maybe that's why I'm here, frankly, that once this was over, I wanted to become FIRE's biggest fundraiser. Well, here we are. He's not paying me anything to be here. I really believe in this organization. Well, eventually the law school caved. It was an incredible relief to have my life back, but as Nadine said, it was a technical victory that when I read the fine print from the diversity office, it made clear that I was under a sword of Damocles that, to mix metaphors, was leading to a star chamber, and I certainly could not stay at an institution that had such little regard for free expression. I was not going to participate in that slow motion firing for things that anyone could claim offense to. As some of the other FIRE clients alluded to, these cases are more than just about one person's rights or even livelihood. When FIRE stood up for my rights, they stood up for all scholars, and indeed for the principles that have made our nation free, open, intelligent, and prosperous. We can't take these principles for granted. My parents took me out of the Soviet Union because they didn't want me growing up under a regime that tried to control your every word and thought. And yet, sadly, far too many Americans take freedom of speech and conscience for granted. If you read the surveys of student opinion and faculty fear, it's depressing at times. Those rights are facing a grave threat from a growing culture of intolerance and illiberalism. So, my deepest thanks to FIRE and to all of FIRE's supporters, all of you who make this work possible, for not only standing up for me, but for leading the way to restoring freedom of speech as a fundamental right and a cherished cultural value. And I tell you what, I never thought that I'd be, opening for a big rap star, but I have worked with Killer Mike's lawyer, Eric Nielsen. I don't know if Eric's in the audience today. There you go. I mean, I love the great coalitions that this issue, this important foundational basis of our nation, of this civic experiment, brings together. So thanks very much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for supporting this vital work.